Kanye West ran the music world in 2021, trending all summer long as he held multiple listening parties for his 10th studio album, Donda. I had the privilege of documenting the album's progress from 2020 all the way to 2021 in a series titled The Complicated Rollout of Donda. From controversial tweets about his former mother-in-law to sold-out arenas, Donda's rollout was historic no matter what you think of Ye's actions. Preserved in a 5-video series is a path to Donda's release, but it appears that Kanye has bigger plans for the Donda brand musically. Those in Kanye's camp are claiming he's working on a Donda trilogy, and Kanye has named his upcoming album to be titled Donda 2. Now, Kanye has planned a ton of sequels for albums that have never seen the light of day. He either changed the narrative entirely or changed the title. But this feels a little bit different. Ye is truly adding to his mother's legacy by releasing music under the Donda title. Kanye's been all over the news lately, be that from his Instagram posts or even releasing music ahead of 2/22/22. So with so much to talk about, so much to recap, let's get into the complicated rollout of Donda 2. The Donda 2 timeline truly begins in early December. On December 12th, Future brings out Kanye while he is performing at Rolling Loud. Now, we'll know about Future's involvement musically with Donda 2 in a bit, but Kanye comes out, plays some classics. He had just performed at the Free Larry Hoover concert, so he knows his lyrics and his vocals are great, and he even did a live freestyle of the Future track titled Fuck Up Some Commas. Ye would get back in the studio in late December, being seen with Scarface, but would actually be seen with a lot more collaborators heading into the new year. The first news we really hear about Kanye's upcoming musical works comes from Steven Victor. Steven Victor is the manager of Pusha T, obviously a reliable source and someone close to the Kanye camp, and he participates in an interview with Complex and basically says that Kanye is working on a sequel to Donda titled Donda 2. And everyone in the Kanye community really doubts this because a Kanye sequel, yeah right. As January furthered, we would really see Kanye in the studio, mainly with The Game. Donda's Place would tease a collaboration with The Game produced by Hit Boy. Pics surface of Ye in the studio with Madonna, Mike Dean, Pusha T, A$AP Rocky, even Ant Clemens, and it is actually around this time that we first hear our first snippet of new Kanye music, and that would be a song we've kind of given the title Windpipe. We get our first hint of controversy in the Donda 2 timeline when Ye left the studio that night. He's basically arguing with his cousin. They're kind of walking out and having a dispute. Kanye would explain all this in an interview I'm going to plug in a second here. But this fan's like harassing Kanye for autograph, and Kanye had already given him an autograph. It's like 2:30 in the morning. He's trying to talk with his cousin. This guy's like, autograph this, and Kanye's frustrated. Kanye's telling him like, man, please, no. Kanye gets in his car, and the fan tries to follow him in there. So finally, Kanye just punches the guy. And of course, it's not a good look. There's some theories that this is a potential setup because there's like some people filming in a weird angle, like in some house or something, and they're like, he's gonna fall for it right before Kanye punches the guy. We don't know, but just not really a good look. And of course, the media loves to portray Kanye as, oh, the evil guy who just loses his temper. He's crazy. Following the incident, Kanye and The Game would release Yeezy on January 14th. The cover art would go viral online, many being disgusted, some understanding the artistry behind the photograph. Either way, Kanye decided it would be a skinned monkey for the cover art there. I'm not going to show it because if anyone's like too disgusted by it, I'm not going to give a skinned monkey warning. But the song also would pick up some headlines. Kanye disses Pete Davidson in it.
God sent me from that crash just so I could beat Pete Davidson's ass. Who?
Also, you have The Game having a fire verse, a really cool Eazy-E sample from the song Easy Does It. All in all, a really cold song. Good shit. But right as we got music, we go right back into controversy, as on January 15th, Kanye would be kind of teased about the aspects of a birthday party for his kid Chicago. No one would give him the place of it, so he basically wasn't able to see his child, and the only way he really felt that he could get anyone's attention about this, because allegedly no one who was at the party was answering his texts, was to send a message out to the world. So he records a video in a car, Whack 100 sends it out to the world and shares it where Kanye is explaining himself.
Chicago, happy birthday, I love you, and I'm just putting this online because I need y'all support. I didn't call Kim, text the nannies. I got on the phone with Tristan. He said, he asked Chloe, won't nobody give me the address to my daughter's birthday party right now? And that's going to imprint in her mind that I wasn't there for her.
After putting the video out, Travis Scott would get his eyes on it and help Kanye out, giving him the address, and Kylie Jenner would allow Kanye to get in the party past the security guard. So Kanye got to see Chicago. Good stuff. And, you know, at this point in time, it was more or less a lot of people were on Kanye's side about this whole divorce thing and seeing the kids. And I think, honestly, it's kind of genius to go at a family like the Kardashians, who are so centered around tabloids and such, by threatening their image by just saying what's going on to the world, to social media. But we're going to see how that kind of can take a negative spin, and Kanye takes things a little bit too far in a little bit. On the 17th of January, Kanye is seen in the studio with 5EO Foreign, Pusha T. Things are looking a little good. Even Big Sean, French Montana. Kanye would get to explain the whole fan incident at 2:30 in the morning in an interview with Hollywood Unlocked. Kanye would really discuss the whole divorce situation with Kim, why he bought the house next door, not because he wanted to stalk Kim, because he wanted to see the kids, and how really the children are the most important thing. Not a lot of music talk here, but if you really want to hear Kanye cover this whole situation, you can go watch it. It's on YouTube. On the 27th of January, Kanye would upload an image of the Donda house on fire, and it would come with a big announcement. His upcoming album, titled Donda 2, was set to release on February 22nd of 2022. Future would be executively producing the album. It seems to be riding the narrative set at the Chicago listening party where the Donda house was set to flames, and we would hear from Kanye in a little bit in an Instagram post that this album is really all about running back into that burning house. Kanye would seem to be really in album mode. Theophilus London, big shout out to him for giving us updates on Donda 2, would post a video of Kanye. Kanye seems to be getting some sort of massage, but Kanye is basically updating his fans that he's not going to be on his phone until the album comes out, because his main focuses are his children and finishing this album to the due date.
I don't have a phone until 2/22/22. My focus is taking my kids to school and finishing the album.
And then, of course, Kanye would get right back to posting on Instagram. He would post things such as his attack on NFTs, which hell yes, and also relating to his whole Black Future Month campaign, which saw a lot of support from other African-American artists, athletes, etc. We would see Kanye in the studio again, this time with even more collaborators. You got Travis Scott in the studio, allegedly giving Kanye some beats. Digital Nas in there, and Digital Nas would actually give us some updates I'm going to talk about in an interview he participated in a second. But this is where we would see our first shot of a Donda 2 whiteboard. We couldn't really make out any tracks, but on the whiteboard it has a little subtitle for Donda 2 where it says, "For the Kids." It's around this time that we would also hear a snippet of the song Drown. I mentioned Digital Nas participating in an interview, and it is in that interview that he would say two very interesting things about Donda 2. Number one, Kanye plans for Donda 2 to be played at funerals, parties, weddings, etc. And then also that Kanye was really working with Marilyn Manson a lot during this time, and Manson's been in the studio almost every day. Snippets that people were posted on Instagram stories for the songs Drown, Let Go, and Windpipe would actually be taken down on Twitter due to copyright at this time. We'd hear another snippet as Kanye played some stuff at Julia Fox's birthday party. We would later know this song to be titled City of Gods, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. I mentioned Theophilus London posting a lot and updating fans, and it is here that we would get access to our first Donda 2 track list. The West Sub Ever Detectives went crazy on this one. So Theophilus takes a picture of Malik Yusuf. He's basically sitting there looking cool, awesome mask, and where he's sitting there's like a table, and on it is a notepad with some writing on it. People flip this image, enhance it, and were able to transcribe a track list. I must point out right before I read this could be a little bit incorrect. Kanye would post a track list in a little bit that we'll cover, but just from top to bottom, this is what people transcribed. First off, Love Me / Too Easy, City of Gods, Pablo, Maintenance, Never Forgive Yourself, Fuck Flowers, Broken Man, The Gods Missing, Closed for Business, True Love, First Time in a Long Time, Sci-Fi - Wi-Fi, Happy, Nebraska, Security, Worst Mistake, Selfish, And then there's a lot more titles, but it gets unreadable at that point. In early February, Kanye would take to Instagram to address his daughter North being on TikTok when he had asked multiple times for her to not be on the app. He would also say in the first post that he doesn't know how to go about this because this is his first divorce, which was kind of a shot at Kim. Kim, in her response, saying she was the main provider for her children, would also say that Kanye has went through multiple lawyers. So taking a shot at Kanye there in her response. Kanye would respond by saying that Kim had him drug tested, and we would learn a lot about how allegedly Kim also accused Kanye of putting a hit out on her. Just a lot of crazy shit. And this is where Kanye would also post the TikTok guidelines proving him right, as if, because there's a lot of people discounting the fact that, hey, it's his kid anyway, he should have a say in this. But getting down to basics, the TikTok guidelines say you shouldn't have the app if you're under 13. Back to music, on February 7th, Pusha T would release Diet Coke, the lead single for his upcoming record, or as he likes to say, a little sample before the album drops of what you're going to hear. This would have Kanye and 88 Keys production, and would also see a music video released a few days after the song dropped, where Kanye and Pusha T, in a music video inspired by Flavor in Your Ear, would basically be dancing in this white and black area, and you also got them like sitting on this couch. It's just a really cool music video, and Kanye is just two-stepping. It's a really cool video. That same night, Kanye would be seen with the likes of Travis Scott, Drake, Young Lean, Don Toliver, Vori, even Baby Keem. And we would later learn that this was a private listening party for Donda 2. On February 10th, City of Gods would be released. Now, the status of this song is weird. It's, again, like Yeezy, it's like a collaboration. Like Yeezy was, okay, The Game and Kanye West. This is Alicia Keys, 5EO4 and Kanye West. We'll see whether it ends up on Donda or not, but either way, amazing hook by Alicia Keys, awesome interpolation of this Chainsmokers sample, and then you also got 5EO4 having, again, just a amazing verse. And then you got Kanye with, as he says, the feature of the year, truly spitting some bars. This is an amazing song. 8 days after the song's release, a music video would officially be released for City of Gods. On the same day of City of God's release, Kanye would take to Instagram to call out Billie Eilish. So Billie essentially was at a concert. I'm going to show the video here in a second. I guess a fan needed an inhaler. She was having an issue. She stopped the show, got the whole issue settled, and then said this.
I wait for people to be okay until I keep going.
Billie was obviously talking about Trav. I mean, who else had a mass concert tragedy in the past year? Kanye, being Travis's mentor, really just posted asking for an apology from Billie, saying, "We love you," and really just saying that, this pushes the narrative that Travis Scott was happy that his fans were dying. And, I mean, that's just as ludicrous as the theory that Travis Scott is a Satanist. Now, the media just eats this up, and Billie Eilish comments that she wasn't talking about Travis Scott, which, in my opinion, is total bullshit. I will say this about the Astroworld Festival. I think the cops and the medics involved, and also the concert organizers, should be taking a lot more heat if people are still coming at Travis Scott the way they are about this incident. The man stopped the show at least 3 times from my recollection. I was watching live to ask what was going on with the fan or if we could get an ambulance over. It's not like he just totally ignored them and was like cackling in evil laughter when he saw his fans dying. I'm not saying Travis Scott shouldn't get any blame. I'm just saying that we shouldn't be so open to just blaming it on Travis Scott when there's a major corporation in Live Nation, aka Ticketmaster, who is just as equally at fault because, hey, they were responsible for the staffing. No matter who's at fault, I think it is important for us fans, no matter what side of the fence you're on, to understand that the real story here is the victims and their families. So rest in peace to those who lost their lives. An absolutely terrible incident. Kanye's really getting active on Instagram by the time February 12th hits. He's posting memes of himself and Pete Davidson's face on Marvel posters, boxing events. It's just getting, ridiculous. He's totally in troll yay mode. But things would get a little more serious for us fans when he would post a notepad that read, "Kid Cudi will not be on Donda 2 because he is friends with you-know-who," aka Pete Davidson. Kid Cudi would respond, choosing violence, saying, "Too bad I don't want to be on your album, you fucking dinosaur. Everyone knows I've been the best thing about your albums since I met you. I'm gonna pray for you, brother." Cudi would then sound off on Twitter saying they've talked about this previously and that Kanye switched up the narrative, he's not a true friend, and even post a quote saying something like, "God takes people out of your life for a reason." Kanye would elaborate on the situation that night, posting a picture of the Kids See Ghosts album cover and then a picture of himself pictured with Pete Davidson and Kid Cudi in the same room with Pete's face marked off. But he would say basically that he just wanted his friend to have his back and that the knife goes deeper. The paparazzi would ask Cudi about Kanye. Cudi would get very upset, try to punch the guy. So obviously a very emotional issue for both Cudi and Kanye. And I really hope they could just sort this out sooner or later. At this time, Kanye would announce a listening party for Donda 2 set for Miami, Florida at Lone Depot Stadium. Now, the day of the Super Bowl, Kanye would post a shit ton about Pete Davidson. He would show messages of Pete actually being mature, texting Kanye, but on the flip side, flame Pete for his whack tattoos along with being associated with Machine Gun Kelly, and I don't think I have to elaborate on why it is just not a good look to be associated with MGK. Kanye was wilding so much on the day of the Super Bowl that he actually had to take a photo of himself holding a notepad confirming that his account wasn't hacked to show people that yes, he was actually posting this stuff. Speaking of the Super Bowl, Kanye would actually appear in an ad during the big game for McDonald's where he rolls up to the drive-thru in a Jesus tank. I love it. On Valentine's Day, Kanye was kind of in his feelings. He would post some messages between him and Kim, and you know, I try not to voice my opinion too much on this, but this is just not too good of a look for Kanye. He was really encouraging fans to scream at Pete Davidson if they see him on the street that Kim Ye's better. It's just, it's kind of a pathetic look. He would even send her a bed of flowers that read on this truck, you know, "My vision is crystal clear." It just is all a little bit stalkerish, and, you know, I think Kanye's trolling here, but it's just, again, it's not a good look. I understand Kanye's sadness over his family splitting. I mean, I'm from a broken family. I know how it is, especially from a child's perspective. But unfortunately, it seems like she's just not interested in rekindling the relationship. In fact, if reports are believed to be true, she's trying to speed up the litigations in court. And Kanye just really pushing for this when she's moved on with another guy, it just, again, makes him look a little bit pathetic, and I don't like to see our man Kanye looking like that. Again, I understand why he really wants to reignite the relationship, and it's a sticky situation because kids are involved, but maybe it's best if Kanye just moves on. Kanye would seemingly have some clarity, posting about how him typing in all caps on Instagram gave people the connotation that, you know, he was screaming at them when he really needs to work on his communication, and everyone would be like, wow, Kanye, you know, kind of seems like he's realized why people are kind of looking at his posts like this, and then immediately would post back in all caps. Again, this man is totally trolling. I'm not covering every single post Kanye has posted. I'm trying to keep it mostly towards the music and things that might be covered on Donda 2. But if I miss out on a post, you know why. I'm really trying to not deviate too far away from the music. Mike Dean would be seen mixing Donda in the studio and even tweet out that he was mixing like a motherfucker. And someone in the replies would basically say, "Does Kanye have you hostage again?" And Mike Dean would like it. On February 18th, Kanye would again trend as he would announce that his album Donda 2 would only be available via stem player. This is really Kanye back on his Prince shit. He's back to that owning your own masters type of campaign, I guess, where he's saying that artists only get 12% of profits from streaming platforms, which is 100% true. With this announcement came a lot of confusion from fans about how they would be able to listen to the album, and according to stem player accounts on Instagram, you physically need the $200 stem player to be able to listen to Donda 2. Hopefully one day it will be put on streaming platforms eventually, but at first release you need the stem player, and I'm sure no one on the internet would ever illegally download any form of music, especially not in the Kanye community. But Kanye, again, needing to kind of work on his communication a little bit, didn't really make that clear enough in my opinion. People are still confused and angry. Along with this announcement, he would post a video of the stem player playing a song expected on Donda 2 titled "Fuck Flowers." And it was a little bit of a rough snippet, but it's hard to tell like what is actually mumble or anything because it's the stem player. So it's like mixing the song, making things repeat. So we can't really tell too much from this snippet.
Some things don't matter. You and me, you and time.
He would post another version of the announcement with the stem player and a song he was recently featured on, City of Gods, leading some to believe that maybe the song is on Donda 2. Now, rumors surfaced earlier that, You know, the Donda 2 listening party wasn't really a listening party, but rather a live performance. Watching the Throne actually had the scoop first, then Complex picked it up, and then Kanye would officially prove people's speculations true when he posted a poster that said this was indeed a live performance. And thanks to a press release put out 2 days before the event, we now know that the performance in Miami is not only a performance of new songs off of Donda 2, but also some of the ones off of the original Donda record from 2021 with some guest collaborators. Kanye would be really riding high, feeling free from the chains of the music services after announcing the whole STEM player news. He even would say how he turned down a really expensive deal from Apple, and he would post a track list for Donda 2. The tracks would be Security, Lift Me Up, which is believed to be Drown, Get Lost, Pablo, True Love, Keep It Burning, which is said to have some Yeezus influence, Broken Road, I'm Finna Love Me, Sci-Fi, We Did It Kid, Flowers, Maintenance, 530, Mr. Miyagi, Selfish, First Time, which is believed to be Long Time, Louis Bag, Candyland, Closed for Business, Do I Look Happy, Things Change, and then an empty slot for 22, which was later updated in a new post to be City of Gods. I kind of believe this is a bonus track just for the STEM player users so they can have the stems for City of Gods. Kanye would actually repost a Watching the Throne post because he follows them on Instagram about Genius being #1 on Netflix. They were just promoting their video. Kanye saw it in his feed and reposted it. So Watching the Throne took the chance, and these guys are awesome. Chris Lambert, Travis Beam, shout out. To say, hey, Kanye, we'll interview you. And they've been trying to get an interview where they would talk about movies with Kanye because they're film critics, I do believe. And Kanye would actually repost it saying, come to Miami. So Watching the Throne allegedly have an interview with Kanye. I just thought I would shout that out there because they are, you know, some just awesome people in the Kanye community. And again, shout out that Kanye Iceberg's coming soon. And Chris Lambert will be on it along with myself and, of course, Rhythmic Reason putting it out. As we got closer to the event in Miami, we would get to see people expected to be guests on the show around Kanye. First off, I gotta mention how Kanye shouted out Jack Harlow's ability on Instagram, and then a few days later would be seen in this picture with Jack Harlow along with The Game and Noor. We would also see Sci-Fi the Prince and Rhymefest in Miami. We'll talk about why this is a really good thing later. But if nothing else, these guys are behind some of the most iconic Kanye lyrics. Also, hours before the event began, we would see Playboi Carti backstage. Now, the night before the event, things were actually looking pretty good. We had a track list, which I covered a few minutes ago, and then also Theophilus London would post an Instagram story with pictures of Kanye and Future listening through Donda 2, listening back at the album, insinuating that, hey, this thing's kind of ready to be previewed tomorrow. It's done. Or so we thought. As fans rushed into the stadium in Miami, some whack merchandise would be put up on Kanye's website. Thankfully, the Balenciaga drop would save us the day after, but Jesus, man. A candle, really? And Comic Sans, too? The show would be streamed on various platforms, including YouTube and Twitch, and even STEMplayer.com, which provided various angles of backstage before the show began. And now we have to discuss the Donda experience, the show itself. And there is a lot of good. It was just overshadowed by some bad. The set and the visuals would be absolutely stunning. The Donda house, or rather what remained of it after the listening party in Chicago, was gray, it was falling apart, and it was surrounded by water and dramatic lighting. Dystopian-looking soldiers equipped with motorsport helmets surrounded the home as engines of street bikes revved in between each song preview. Ye wore a very futuristic-looking outfit, the only thing contrasting in his look as he vibed to each of the new tracks was his white contacts. As the event furthered, an eclipse would occur in the sky of the arena and really mimic the look of the God's Country in 2020 Donda album covers. Now, this listening event started off very well. Like I said, the visuals were stunning, and the new music that Kanye previewed weren't finished, but were very promising. I find the sound Kanye utilized on this new album to be kind of like what we all expected TurboGrafx-16 to be from the very few leaks we have heard. It's like a dystopian video game type of setting. But as Kanye planned to transition into live performances, things would go south to no fault of Kanye or any other of the live performers. The event would kick off, like I said, with the song previews, and I'm just going to go down the track list in sequential order. I'll get into the details of the tracks when we get into the STEM player releases, but first off, the song played to kick everything off with the house bursting into flames was True Love featuring XXXTentacion. This song actually was recorded back in 2018, at least on X's part, and then was given to Kanye recently and utilized on this new album. Then we would hear Broken Road featuring Don Toliver, Too Easy, and Flowers before The Game would come out. Attempt to perform his verse on Easy, but this was the start of audio seeming just a little bit off. Back to previews, we would hear Security, We Did It Kid featuring Baby Keem and Migos, and Pablo featuring Travis Scott and Future, and I think it's important to point out that this was the snippet that we titled Drown. We would then hear Mr. Miyagi featuring Future and Playboi Carti, before Pusha T would come out, embrace with Kanye, and perform Diet Coke. And although his live vocals were way too low compared to the backing vocals, he was pretty on cue, and then the song was cut off as someone accidentally played Pablo again. This awkward ending was really foreshadowing, but again we would get to hear some new songs. Jack Harlow would join Ye on stage as Kanye premiered Louis Bags with a Kamala Harris sample. Also we would hear Happy featuring Future, Sci-Fi featuring Sean Leone with the Kim K monologue from SNL sampled, and a very interesting Morgan Freeman line. And then we would get to hear the second and final collaboration between Ye and XXXTentacion on this album with the track Selfish. Now back in 2017, we actually have footage of X on Instagram Live, like he was doing a live video, and he's singing the hook to this song.
Selfish. I just want you out of my own.
Now we would transition into the performance side of this show, and that would start with the Sunday Service Choir performing 2 tracks as the Donda house split in half and light is just beaming out. It was, again, a really awesome visual. Hurricane begins, Kanye's ready to rap, and it seems like he's forgotten his lyrics, but he's like touching his earpiece, and then finally he just gives up. And it's a very confusing situation, but he was likely distracted by the off-sync earpiece that one of the sound engineers would talk about, and I'll read you guys the quote in a second. Also, the arena was playing the instrumental, and like it would skip for some reason. And on top of all that, they were just having, in general, mic issues. Like, Kanye's mic was not at full performance. This was really turning into a wreck, and then jail began. Out comes Marilyn Manson as Kanye is struggling to sing over a skipping instrumental and non-functioning mic. Kanye finally just threw the mic out of frustration. Manson stands awkwardly as DaBaby strolls out. His verse is played, not on sync with the beat. This is just turning into a total disaster. Then we would go back to hearing some new Donda 2 tracks. We'd hear Lift Me Up featuring Vori. Very nice. Heaven and Hell would begin to play, and Kanye could be heard just screaming like, "There's no reason to play the song. I'm not performing. There's no reason. My mic isn't working." Then they would play Praise God. Again, that would be skipped and not played all the way, the instrumental anyway. And then City of Gods would start. And Alicia Keys would do great on the piano. She would sing there. Her mic was working. Fabio Foreigns, on the other hand, would do the exact opposite. He would sound like utter shit when trying to perform his City of Gods verse, and it would just not be a good look for him following all the momentum he had with his off-the-grid feature. Kanye would know the drill by this point and just vibe out to the instrumental, not even attempting to rap his verse, and looking very annoyed. The final Donda 2 track previewed at this event would be the song titled First Time in a Long Time, featuring Soulja Boy. It's good to see Ye and Soulja Boy patching up the beef, the very one-sided beef that was hilarious from 2021, and a smile would finally appear on Kanye's face as Playboi Carti would be heard screaming as he ran onto the stage. Carti would bring the energy in the final performance of the night with the track Off the Grid. Carti isn't exactly the best live performer in terms of matching his studio sound, but his screams and live ad-libs were enough to really make me enjoy this send-off, especially after all of the unfortunate mishaps on the audio side of things. As Kanye's verse plays, he just vibes with Carti and Fabio, and then the house would explode again, Carti would scream hilariously, and Kanye would walk off very quickly. The Donda 2 preview tracks, while not finished and full of mumble Kanye, were pretty great and hyped a lot of fans up for what Donda 2 could be. The performances were an utter mess thanks to earpiece interference, and unfortunately, this event will be remembered for the failures rather than the amazing camera work, stage design, and imagery. Fans would pay attention as the credits rolled and someone was credited for being the sound designer, and that man's name would be Dion Friley. Dion would post an Instagram story saying that he and Kanye had talked it out and a misunderstanding had been solved. Hours later, he would post another story saying, "Please hold your applause. The job is not finished," with the date 3/2/22. Audiologist William Marecki, who was involved in the show as a playback engineer, would say on Instagram, "Wasn't me," and would later follow up with a proper statement, saying that the earpiece interference was due to a third party, and simply saying, "Shit happens sometimes." Kanye surprisingly would stay completely silent on the matter, not posting to Instagram or really anything, even though he looked very frustrated on stage. The only thing he would post the day after the event would be photos of the new Gap Balenciaga Yeezy drop. An original set list for the event would surface, and we would get to see some songs expected to be on Donda 2 that were almost premiered but ultimately not for whatever reason. These tracks would be Maintenance, Clothes for Business, Flat Money Susie Extended, Dear Summer, and Keep It Burning. We also got a shot, thanks to Quavo, of the final track list for the event, and these songs would not be on there, so for whatever reason they were kept off. With Kanye not mentioning the event whatsoever on social media, and then merch from his website, while being terribly designed, would be taken down less than 24 hours after the show, things just did not look good for this album, and among everything else, Watching the Throne didn't get the Kanye interview. With morale in the Kanye community being at an all-time low, no one really speculated anything, with the STEM Player website being down midday on the 23rd, but the very few that speculated that tracks were being uploaded would be right. A STEM Player worker would hop on the STEM Player Discord and say that tracks would be uploaded as they're finished. 4 tracks, being Security, Pablo, Broken Road, and We Did It Kid, would be available for download at stemplayer.com. The songs still have mumble. They're basically the versions we heard on the 22nd at the listening event / performance, but even though there is room for improvement, it's still a vibe. Alex Klein, the man responsible for creating the STEM Player along with Kanye, would tweet out that tracks would be updated on the website, and by using the STEM Player, us fans were getting Ye's vision and eventually the latest versions of tracks. It was obvious that Kanye needed to work on a lot of his verses from the previewed Donda 2 tracks, and we would see him back in the studio with Future the day after the performance. Rhymefest would also post on Instagram that same day, saying he was working hard without sleep, even though he said he just took a nap. I'll let it slide, with the hashtag Donda 2. The night of February 24th, Donda version 2.22.22 Miami would be available for download on the STEM Player website. This drop will be promoted as a Donda 2 update, with 2 of the 4 previously dropped tracks being updated and 11 new songs being available in high quality. 10 of the new songs we already heard at the listening event, but it was nice to hear them in high quality, and then 1 song we had never heard before, so this was really exciting. The first track would be True Love, featuring XXXTentacion. This is a great intro, but they changed the drums at the tail end of this track, and Kanye's vocals are mixed very oddly. They took away the runaway drums, which a lot of people liked, but we'll get back to this track in a second. Then the second track, Broken Road, featuring Don Toliver. It's short, yet it's very good. I love the hook. Potentially could add more to Kanye's verse and maybe even, I don't know, remove the homeless line before everyone throws a fit about it who didn't watch the Drink Champs interview. Too Easy. I absolutely love it. It may be changed lyrically from the point in the beginning where he's saying like Drew Brees and everything. It doesn't really make sense, at least with the little context we do have, but the beat is just absolutely insane. Get Lost would be listed after Too Easy. I kind of took this as an intro to the song, or potentially on the same song, but this is an extremely creative and unique track, really just only Kanye with these vocoder vocals with no beat. Flowers has an awesome sample. It's talking about dating post-marriage and even kind of taking some shots at what I presume to be about Julia Fox. And the claps at the end are just, they're elite. They just add so much to the song. Security is total Yeezus vibes. This is awesome. Love this track. Very intimidating. I love the butt naked in the kitchen cooking grits line. Genius. I love it. It's just manic energy and it's awesome. We Did It Kid featuring Migos and Baby Keem. Love Baby Keem on the intro. Kanye's presence on this track is very minimal, but some of the songs on Donda, the first Donda that is, are kind of like that too. So we'll see. I just really dislike this one's censoring. You know, for some of these tracks you can't really tell, but the way they just bleep out Migos' verses and they all are swearing and stuff, talking about taking a shit. It just is very like unnatural sounding, and it's so weird. The uncensoring stuff around this time with Kanye really doesn't make any sense. Pablo featuring Travis Scott and Future is potentially my favorite track so far on Donda 2. Amazing. Travis Scott on this hook is just, I love it. I love the way he manipulates his vocals for Kanye. Kanye just like has that connection with him to push him a little bit further. And Future's verse, a lot of people are sleeping on it. I think it's like, I really like, Future has this like laid back confidence whenever he gets on a track, and I really like it. Kanye seems to be mumbling on his whole entire part of this song, except for like the "who they waiting on, that's Pablo" section. But he also could be harmonizing with the beat. It's honestly really hard to tell. Louis Bags featuring Jack Harlow, even though it's really repetitive, the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me. Jack Harlow's verse is amazing. I'm a big fan of it. It ends a little bit weird, but when it transitions into our next song, Happy, it works. Happy is featuring Future. I wish it was Do I Look Happy or Paid to Talk, but either way, regardless of the title, the beat is insane. Kanye needs to totally write his verse because it's totally unfinished, but Future killed his part here. I love the making my mark on the earth line. That gets me every time. I really do like the lines that Kanye does have on this song where he's like, do I look happy to you or want to put me in the institute? All you can do is salute. Great. Then we have Sci-Fi featuring Sean Leone. Weird ass semen bar, but after that, the beat is amazing. It's a very ominous track with that Kim K sample. And Sean Leone killed his part on the intro, by the way. And unlike Louis Bags for me, the repetition on this song really works. Because what he's saying, the more he says it, the more you understand it, like sci-fi or Wi-Fi. You want to live in the dystopia, you want to live in the real world. You want to live on your phone and live by like TMZ headlines? Or do you want to have life? And kind of like that whole life Kanye was trying to build for his family away from all the E-news and, you know, the keeping up with the Kardashian cameras. Selfish featuring XXX Tentacion. I love X's hook. He has such a soothing voice. And Kanye could change or modify his verse, but honestly it works even though there are points that are very corny. Then we have Lord Lift Me Up featuring Vori. Kanye is not on this track at all despite it sounding heavenly, but as we've seen on some of the Donda tracks, I mean, No Child Left Behind, Kanye's on it, but Vori is really the main presence on that track. That could be a situation like this for this song. Keep It Burning featuring Future is a very unfinished track. Future's verse is done. The sample, the Talking Heads, one of my most favorite bands. They're so weird and obscure. I love the Talking Heads. But Kanye's part is totally unfinished. Like, this is maybe the worst of mumble Kanye we get on this version 2 drop on the stem player. Needs a lot of work, but regardless, there's a lot of potential for this to be a great song. Then we have City of Gods on the track list. It might just be an extra for the stem player, but it kind of looks like it's on Donda 2. I don't know. I don't really care regardless. I love City of Gods. It's a great song. Then our last track would be First Time in a Long Time featuring Soulja Boy. Kanye's vocals sound like absolute shit, but what he is saying on the hook, I like it. Even the lost my best man and I lost my spouse, sleeping on the couch. It's great. Soulja Boy also has an amazing verse where he's talking about really coming from nothing, rising to the top, and making something of yourself due to hard work. It's very inspirational stuff. Although I really liked what I heard with this update, it was very clear that this is, again, unfinished, especially on Kanye's part. Most of the features are done and everything. It's just Kanye is mumbling so much. Producer OG Volta, after promoting Donda 2's update, would post a video on his story of Mike Dean and himself reacting in the studio to this drop. And in the video, Mike Dean basically says they're using CLA vocals. That's why it sounds like shit.
CLA vocals?
Yeah. Yeah, wait, so why am I not hearing this?
CLA vocals.
CLA vocals is essentially a mixing plugin that allows you to rush the mixing process and really get a song done quickly. And from what I understand, it could be used to great effect and it could be done well, but it's just really not like why it's not really for a Grammy Award winning artist to use. They're likely talking about some of the tracks on Donda 2 from this Miami update that sounded bad, mainly True Love, with Kanye sounding really off on that one, and then mainly First Time in a Long Time. Either way, it was clear that Donda 2 was going to be updated periodically as tracks were mixed properly and lyrics developed. A true living, breathing, changing creative expression. Although a lot of people don't like the price of it, the stem player truly gives fans an avenue to hear the album evolve in real time as Kanye continues work past the 2/22/22 release date. Speaking of the album updating, Mike Dean would post a video of his cute dog as he was driving and essentially say he was on the way to a mixing session using the hashtag Donda2. Continuing the streak of daily drops, on February 25th, the stadium version of True Love would be released on the stem player. Many fans disliked the way they changed the track for the 23rd update, and they would listen to the criticism and put the runaway drums back. Kanye's vocals would be a lot clearer, and overall, this was really relieving. It's really cool, for one, that Kanye and his camp are listening to fans' criticism and really giving them what they want. And also, this track just had a ton of potential from what we heard in Miami, so it's really nice to see it fixed up, because a lot of people were like, oh my god, they ruined True Love. I mentioned earlier how the Genius documentary really had Kanye reflecting on his past and feeling hungry again, just like he was at the beginning of his career. And with part 2 dropping around this time, right after the show, Kanye, after seeing the various studio sessions for The College Dropout, would reconnect with Jamie Foxx. On February 27th, Kanye would randomly go live on Instagram and film himself hanging out with Jamie Foxx, and Jamie would essentially say, "Can't wait for y'all to see the next step." On that same day, Kanye would post pictures of himself in the studio with the band Beach House, and if you guys haven't heard anything from this duo, I recommend you checking them out. Very talented, and I'm very interested to see what they create with Kanye. Nor of Drink Champs would take to Twitter to brag, basically saying how he has all of Donda 2 uncensored plus the Mike Dean mixes, insinuating that more work has been done and Mike Dean has thankfully mixed some of the tracks potentially that are finished. But ironically, the next day, some updates would be done to Donda 2, censoring more of the album. We would get news also at this time that Kanye was headlining Rolling Loud on Friday, July 22nd. And speaking of performances, on March 2nd, Kanye would be recorded having a conversation with someone talking about what went wrong at the Donda 2 performance.
It wasn't about the sound. It was the fact that I was told, one thing I was told is that I had to write the word performance on the piece, but what I was giving you guys is performance art. So right when I did the song and I saw myself grabbing this mic and it wasn't my original idea, I was like, I'm gonna throw this mic. Why am I doing this?
Right.
I'm in control of me.
Right.
That's the whole point of why I got this stem player.
Right.
That's the whole point of why I tweeted the contracts.
Right.
To be in control of me, to have the ability to sell out a stadium, 50,000 seats in 5 days, and then to be told by a promoter, still grab that mic, boy. I ain't grabbing the mic if I don't have to grab the mic. I'm not.
You don't know anybody anything. It was your show.
Essentially, Kanye wanted it to be a full-on listening party like we experienced for the 3 Donda live streams that we got back in 2020. But I guess his promoter for the event, as he put it, said basically, no, you have to perform. Label this a performance. The audio issues definitely were there, and I have no doubt in my mind they frustrated Kanye. But essentially, he would say that the idea of being controlled, doing what someone else tells you when you're so successful and you're so known for being yourself and not listening to anyone, is really what influenced him to throw that mic. On that same day, Kanye would continue to go against the grain, posting a music video for the track Yeezy. On the same exact day, he and former wife Kim Kardashian's divorce is finalized. The music video is a really creepy yet cool aesthetic, like a Tim Burton type of movie, but clay animation. It's black and white. Ye calls back to the Bound 2 music video, driving the opposite way this time, and kidnapping Pete Davidson, putting him in the ground, and growing flowers around his body, connecting the truck bed of flowers post from a month ago, where he said, "My vision is crystal clear." This music video would end with a graphic saying, "This is a joke," because people would obviously take it way too seriously, and still are, even though that's in the video. But man, this video, what an artistic statement. I'm just gonna let it speak for itself. Another music video for Yeezy would release just a week later, this time animated, but the less said about that fever dream come to life, the better. Kanye would also release a music video for Hurricane at this time, which I wasn't too big of a fan of. It's like kind of like PlayStation 2 graphics, a lot of people compared it to. But something I am a fan of he was releasing at this time were these poems kind of discussing how he's feeling mentally as the divorce is getting finalized and everything like that. Speaking of the divorce, on March 13th, Kanye would upload many videos to Instagram, voicing his frustration over North still being put on TikTok. I mean, the fact that this comes after that ignorant Kim Kardashian comment just about a week ago now, and North is in makeup, singing a Machine Gun Kelly song, it almost seems calculated. Ye would thoroughly explain his reasoning for being upset at the lack of flexibility in him and Kim's 50-50 custody situation. He seemed very vulnerable, openly praying on one of the videos and just putting things in God's hands for him to be able to see his children. Pete Davidson would prove that he's an asshole, as his friend, at Pete's request, would post screenshots of Pete and Kanye's texting conversation. In the messages, Pete would go from trying to give Kanye advice about his mental health to bragging about being in bed with his wife. Tying things back to music in these rants, Kanye would even say in one video that he was mentally blocked when trying to write lyrics and finish his verses for Donda 2 because North wasn't allowed to go to the Donda 2 event in Miami.
That's already creating, oh, I'm cool. I can pick my kids up. I felt energized because I couldn't even rap. I couldn't do anything after North wasn't allowed to go to Donda 2. It paralyzed me. I had verses to finish. I had, I just couldn't. It was done at that point.
I think it's also important for people to know that since Kanye was criticized and called an abuser for being public about him and Kim's issues, dealing with the kids, dealing with the divorce, that the Kardashians are having a new show on E! Kim has said in an interview about the show that she's going to be discussing the divorce, her issues with Kanye, and even her new relationship with Pete. But Kanye, taking matters to social media when he can't see his children and no one's returning his calls, or even he's being compared to O.J. Simpson, yeah, there's definitely no double standard there. As further work on Donda 2 is done, be that Kanye finishing up verses, or even songs being reworked like the snippets we've heard of Mr. Miyagi, I have a feeling we're going to have to wait a little more before we get to hear a fully finished Donda 2. The current version of Donda 2 is now available to be listened to on your phone if you bought the STEM player. All you got to do is enter the email you purchased the device with into the new website, stemplayer.com, and you can access the songs mobily. As of this recording, the only other update that has happened is Get Lost has been made to have some raw Kanye vocals, so it's like a split of raw Ye vocals and the vocoder vocals, which bring the vocoder back. I really liked it. While we have the rough drafts of these songs to hold us over, Ye seems to have a lot of plans for the lyrics, sounds, and themes of his Donda sequel. With Ye performing at Coachella in just under a month now, it is likely that he will maybe release Donda 2 in its full form around that weekend. Or he may even hold another listening event to right a wrong and wash that bad taste out of our mouths that the Donda experience in Miami has left. I wanted to document the rollout of this record in just one single video, but unfortunately, like many Kanye albums before it, the rollout for Donda 2 has become very complicated.